Welcome to the FitBiz Accelerator, your ultimate guide to launching, growing, and scaling a thriving online fitness business. I'm your host, Tobias Young. And whether you're just starting out or looking to take your business to the next level, this podcast is packed with actionable tips, real-world strategies, and the insights you need to crush your business goals and build the business of your dreams. Now that you're here, let's dive in. What's up? Welcome back to the FitBiz Accelerator Podcast. And today's episode is going to hit home for a lot of coaches and trainers and wellness professionals because we're going to be talking about something that doesn't get discussed enough. And that's burnout. Not just being tired, needing like a vacation, but that deeper feeling of being maxed out and being scattered and being overwhelmed and still trying to show up for your clients, your business, your content, your family, and everyone else who needs something from you. Right? A lot of fitness professionals out there are great at helping other people create structure, create discipline, create routines, and create transformation. But behind the scenes, a lot of them are actually running their own businesses from a place of chaos. They're over giving and they're undercharging and they're constantly just reacting. And they're taking on clients sometimes who drain them. And they're saying yes when they need to say no. And they're trying to grow by doing more, by posting more, by serving more, and by pushing harder. But eventually that all catches up. That's why I'm excited for today's conversation. My guest today is Dr. Karolina LaBrecque. Karolina is a speaker, a coach, a behavior consultant, and founder of Help to Grow Institute. And she helps entrepreneurs and coaches and trainers and holistic providers create sustainable success without burning themselves out in the process. And this is all through her Befriending Your Life framework. So she combines a combination of psychology, of nervous system regulation, executive functioning, and business strategy to help people build aligned lives and impactful businesses, and then healthier relationships with themselves and their work and the people that they serve. And what I love about this conversation is that we're going deeper than just surface level mindset. We're talking about how your nervous system impacts your leadership, how executive functioning impacts consistency, how identity impacts your business growth, and also how boundaries can actually impact your client retention and your energy and your ability to scale without actually resenting the thing that you built. Karolina, exactly how it's pronounced, but welcome to the show. I'm excited to have you here. So okay, awesome. And then let's start with your story. So for someone that's meeting you for the first time, how did you get into this work and what led you to create the Help to Grow Institute?
So I got into this work a little bit complicated way. So I always knew I'm a healer, and I knew that probably from 12 years old on. So I went on and got some education in that direction, and that education being master in psychology and PhD in physical therapy. And on the road with that, I spent many years working with autism and other different abilities. I hate the word disability, so it's just different abilities. And in the meantime, I started to grow my wellness business. Before children, I had my own gym, then I had wellness coaching, and then my life changed in one day. I was in a car wreck, and my main business, which was working with severely autistic population, had to stop because I was in a head-on collision. Someone 360'd into my car. So I hit a pickup truck going about 45 miles an hour. My CRV became a size of my feet. Nothing broken, a hell of a post-concussion syndrome and a hell of a whiplash. And if you ever worked with severely affected populations, you will know that one of the form of communication is things like flying chairs and basically every behavior is a communication, but aggression is much higher in that population than anywhere else. And my medical team was very specific about me never get hit on the head again. It took me a few years to recover from not being able to walk a straight line, not being able to write, to be able bilingual. I speak English and Polish. Polish is my native. So it was a journey. I'm still in rehab for things like fencing, horseback riding, and skiing, but I'm back to fully functional. So in the midst of that, I started to do more and more coaching, waiting for my body to recover, and especially coaching populations that are close to my heart, which are wellness providers and healers. And, very often we serve the people that we belong to, right? The groups. Yeah. So I did a lot of networking and I coached through that. And in a form of that, I moved from purely ADHD to then discovering that majority of small business owners are neurodiverse and ADHD and they need help. And then I added to it. And now I'm at the level when I'm coaching CEOs and higher ups how to change that burnout and the stress so that it can trickle down into the whole organization. And I still have my small business owners and I still have my wellness providers, but that's how I arrived to where I am today. It kind of naturally evolved. All of it is based on my education, which is very holistic, mind and body, and then also life experience and just working with hundreds of people and listening to their stories and figuring out what makes them tick and what they need. Because we are the same, but everyone has a little bit different of quirks, right? So what works best in what situation?
Yeah, I love that. I've had 7 concussions myself. So I've had a lot of concussions, through sports, but I've also been into car accidents and stuff. Those are not fun. But I love the fact that you were talking about some of those things, because so many coaches listening right now, they know that they want to help people, but they're also trying to figure out how to build something that does not completely consume them. So you talk about a sustainable business before, right? And in fitness, we hear a lot about discipline, consistency, work ethic, high performance. All those things matter. But where do you see coaches and wellness professionals getting it wrong when they confuse success with all that constant hustle?
So there are 2 aspects to that. One is, are you truly aligned with your calling? I'm on this podcast because one of my strong suits is public speaking and teaching. Among other things I've done in my life was 20 years of university teaching. So undergrad and postgrad level. So unless you align what you're doing with a true to you, it's not going to work. So what I see a lot of, especially coaches and healers, is this. You have a mission to help people. And kind of like I did, you come up out of your training, wherever that training, it being personal training or clinician or whatever, with 0 to none business training. So what do? You go on social media and you get bombarded by every freaking marketing strategy that there is on earth. The problem with that strategy is that you look what other big coaches do and you try to replicate it. And the problem with that is this: just because this strategy worked for this person doesn't mean it's going to be working for you. For example, I am a freaking talker. I don't shut up. Doing interviews and doing this, I can do this all day long, every day or every other day. I have no problem publicly speaking. I have no problem coming into a totally new room of people I don't know and networking the hell out of it. Well, guess what? If you ain't it, that strategy for you will be the highest kind of a torture ever. I haven't met a stranger yet. Everyone is a friend, right? But if you are more reserved and more introverted, this is going to be a pure torture. So following me and trying to replicate what I do is not going to work for your situation. So that misalignment of who you are and what are your strengths with trying to copy a marketing strategy is a first step to a disaster. And the second thing, which I was guilty of, and I have a sense of humor, so I always say that every time I think I know better, the good Lord proves me wrong. And one of those things was my career. I used to be the type A, work myself to death personality with the PhD before age 29 and, everything that goes with it. I horseback riding, so that was not my first concussion either, because you don't fall off only if you don't get on. But I had to slow down because guess what? If I didn't, my body takes my legs out, as in literally I will be on the ground. The physiology said, enough, we're not doing this way. And my nation, Polish people, are very driven and very this is in school, you never complain. It's not, I was in a sports school. Your legs hurts, amputate, keep running. That's kind of the attitude, right? So that's literally what I had from my coaches my whole life. So when you do that, you burn out physically and psychologically. Sooner or later, you're going to end up in a position where you have to slow down and really figure out what works for you so that you can do it within your capacity, whatever that capacity is for a given day. And I know it's my story, but I also, I interview a lot of people and I follow a lot of successful people. And there is so many stories of people, passing out on a plane or getting an autoimmune, or because sooner or later, if you keep cruising around the world and jumping and all of that. It just builds up. So those are the two things that really matter in that alignment of, are you building a business that's suited for you and not for some imaginary image that the society or whoever your subconscious is pulling through makes it look like?
Yeah, that's so important because so many coaches follow the big names in there and they try to do all that stuff and then they go off because it doesn't work. But they're at another stage of their business too. It's not just like doing things that you're comfortable with, but it's like if they're scaling ads and you haven't even like developed your simple organic strategies, then you got to start with your foundations. But so many coaches also, they normalize exhaustion and they think I'm building a business, so this is just how it is. And then they're on their phone all day and they feel guilty when they're resting, and they have clients that are crossing boundaries and they're always behind, and they start to believe that stress is just the cost of success. But from what you teach, there is another way. Let's talk about your Befriending Your Life framework. What does befriending your life actually mean?
So it is befriending your life in any form and shape you are in it currently, and befriending you and your reality, right? And we can shape that reality, but you can shape it at your own speed. So it has 5 pillars. What is your quest? Where the hell are you going with this? Calibrating GPS, basically. Are you spinning? I don't know if you all remember the old handheld GPSs that were like recalibrating, and spinning in a cycle, right? So, MapQuest, where are you going? Then there is the befriend your mind. What are the voices in your head whispering to you? Not enough, do more, blah, 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 right? Mommy is not going to be happy, but my trainer told me, blah, 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 blah. So your mindset and your mind, and what is that looking like? Then there is the befriend your body, which maybe for this particular group is a little less than for my other CEOs. Think about yourself as a car. What fuels you? What fuel are you putting in? Are you putting an oil, yucky McDonald's, gross oil, or are you putting things that are going to make that engine run? I'm a huge fan of using adjective modalities like PMF. Personally, a big fan of Beamer, but it's so what are you doing with your body? Are you sleeping 8 hours, or are you killing time and working because your client wants a session at 9 p.m. But then if you are a personal trainer, I can almost guarantee you there's another client that wants a session at 5 a.m., right? Because then the work. And then you'll end up having nothing. So all of that, sleep, eating, we look into that. And again, for this population, maybe a little less, because that's what most coaches teach, right? But for my average business owner, you'll be surprised how many people are surprised that processed carbs are not good for you. And then there is the time. And what I put in a bucket of a time is what in literature we have a fancy name for it, which is executive functioning. So think about prioritization, time management, things like self-awareness, metacognition, things like communication. All of that goes into time, because depending how effective your executive functioning is how much time you're going to be wasting looking for your keys or for your, the planning, all of that. And then the last but not least is your surrounding. And the surrounding is both your physical surrounding, meaning, and I'm laughing as I'm saying this because I am really right now deep cleaning my office because I'm going on vacation next week. And my office looks like a bomb exploded in it, but it's what environment are you working in? And then the other part of surrounding is who is in your network and how do you build that network? The oldest saying on earth, which by the way has been scientifically proven till cows come home on many social studies, you are the average of 5 people you spend the most time with. So who are you surrounding yourself with? Who is, we talk about fueling your body, but who is fueling your spirit? Who is fueling your mindset? Who are the people? Are they growing you or are they pulling you down? Yeah. Which way does it go? So those are the 5 pillars we work on. I always say that I'm 90% scientific, 5% energy voodoo think quantum physics, and 5% common Polish sense of like, why did you think that would work, right? So that's my approach, and that's the modality that I'm actually trademarking right now, and the book is coming out and all of that. But yeah.
Ooh, I love that too. And because most people are trying to fight their life, fight their schedule, fight their stress, and fight their whole capacity that they have. But when you learn how to work with your life and your season and your nervous system, growth can become a lot more sustainable too. So let's dig into a little bit of nervous system regulation. This term gets used a lot right now, but I think many people still don't fully understand how it applies to business. So how does nervous system regulation impact a coach's ability to make decisions, stay consistent, sell, lead clients the right way, and actually grow the biz?
So without going very scientific on this, and so I'm not going to put my professor hat, I'm going to put that aside. Think about, to really simplify it, your brain has one job and one job only, and that is energy regulation. So your brain is this little mechanism that decides what is the energy is going to be distributed to, right? So if brain feels that, and by the way, brain is also a very interesting thing, the physical brain, because it has zero connection to outside world by itself. So if you can go on YouTube if you're into any freaky videos, and Google or YouTube open brain surgeries. After they cut your skull open under anesthesia, they can fully wake you up and you will not feel a thing. Wow. So very often when they remove tumors, for example, in musicians, they will do that, wake you up, ask you to play an instrument while you're sitting in a surgery with your head immobilized, and they will stimulate a cortex and see if you can still play it. That way they know if you're going to remove the given tissue or not. But I'm digressing into some really nerdy fun stuff, right? That excites me personally. But what I'm saying is this: your brain by itself doesn't get any information other than the information that your nervous system, your touch, your smell, your senses send in it. And then, if you ever know what a Bayesian machine is, it predicts in an active time, it predicts an outcome based on a past information with the current stimulation. So if you think about it, we are almost always a little behind because it predicts on what it knows from past and it adjusts with the current information coming in. Mm-hmm. That said, if your brain thinks, and we're talking here to coaches and business people, right? So if your brain thinks that it does not have enough capacity of energy to do something, guess what? Yeah. Which is sometimes you have 7 planners, the most beautiful, especially to you ladies, the flowery ones and the new pastel colors every season, right? For every part of guys, less so. Guys, you have the most regulated spreadsheets and calendars on a computer, and you still haven't done it. That's because your brain said, dude, I don't have energy for this. We don't have energy for this. So I am going to come up with the most ridiculous things for you to not do that thing. Example, in my personal life, if my kitchen starts being spotless, including inside of the cupboards, I usually need to stop myself and ask her what kind of a cow is sitting in my office that I'm avoiding perfectly. Yeah. Right? It's like, I will do that, which I don't like, other than this. For the personal trainer, here's a good example. When you have a client coming in, and let's say they are not really fit, and they say, dude, drop down and do 100 push-ups. The person is going to go, I don't want to die. I'm not doing any push-ups. I cannot do push-ups. I'm not qualified to do push-ups. But if you tell them, hey, you know what? We're going to see what we can do. And we are going to get into a plank position. Can you get into a plank position? Okay, that looks like something that's not going to kill me. So maybe I can get into plank position. And if they can't, you can say, can you get on a plank position with your knees bent? You did that. So now maybe we can raise the knees. Great. And while you're here, can you bend your elbows? And your brain goes, yeah, I can bend and break those like once. What's going to happen, right? And usually when you go to do that, sooner or later, you're going to do 5 push-ups. Yeah. And if you do that consistently, sooner or later, you're going to get to that 100. I haven't got there yet, but I don't like push-ups. You see what I'm saying? It's the same with our business. If you are trying to mimic a coach who is neons away from you and has thousands of people or followers, has a whole team behind them, and they make it look effortless. And here you are just starting and you post it 5 times. By the way, all those big figures, if you see how much they post, that's the team posting. It's not them posting. A little secret, right? It's like, it's not you guys.
Sorry, guys.
But there is a whole team doing that. And here you have someone just starting who has 100 followers and half of them are his family. And then the brain goes, hell no, right? So that is that neuroscience of this, that you have to trick your brain to thinking, what can I do today? And the other part of that is the fight and flight and the vagal response and parasympathetic and sympathetic. And again, I could do a whole long lecture on that. But where, are you when you're talking to your client, are you so desperate for a sale that you are in fight or flight? Not in a flow, not in that let's competitive edge, but in a full flight or flight, right? Or have you pushed yourself so far beyond that now you are in a freeze?
Yep. I understand.
And you can't do anything anymore. You're not even picking up the phone. That's all neuroscience. And you can regulate that just with briefing. You can regulate that with being aware of which state you are in. I just told you that, no rush for recordings because I'm going on a week-long vacation where I'm totally disconnected from internet.
Yeah.
As in, I'm in the middle of woods when I have one bar on my phone, and that bar is capable of calling 911 if I fell on a hiking trip. And my nervous system needs that.
Yeah.
I do that a few times a year.
Yeah. And I see this
it's
all the
that
time.
Level of awareness.
Yeah, with coaches. And I see it all the time. They know what to do and they know that they need to post and they need to follow up and they need to build relationships and have sales conversations and create systems and serve their clients. But then they freeze, like you're saying. They overthink and then they avoid or they just distract themselves and they beat themselves up thinking they're lazy or undisciplined. But sometimes it's not laziness. It's lack of capacity. It's nervous system overload. It's decision fatigue. It's trying to operate at a level their current structure does not support yet. They will get there. They can. So would you agree with that? Let's talk about like executive functioning for coaches who may not be familiar with that term. How would you explain executive functioning in kind of a simple way? And how does that show up in a business?
Oh, it is so important. And it's important on any level, not just on your personal level, but when you build a team. And I actually have a mini trainings on that for even the whole team. It's almost like personality types. So executive functioning is defined in different ways, but it's basically, think about it, you are a director of your life. So how good are you at running your own life? How good are you at spatial organization, prioritization, time management, metacognition? There's like 12 of them, not wasting time on all 12 of them right now. And we all have weaknesses and strengths. So working memory is one of this. And I was never spatially aware. I'm always spatially, I'm not very artistic. I cannot do graphics, all of that. But I had, before my concussion, my huge one, I had an excellent executive memory, like working memory. So guess what? I didn't have to be organized. Because I remember that 7 layers under that pile, there is that paper. Well, guess what? When my memory went away and I caught myself in the midst of concussion when if I put a pot on a stove and I turn around, I did not remember that there was a pot on a stove. If I spent half an hour where are my car keys, I had to develop systems to say every single time your car keys go here, because otherwise, out of sight, out of mind. It's not so anymore, but that was my life 7 years ago with 2 little kids who tend to move things around. It was interesting. I have a funny story about that I will tell you somewhere in private, about my child playing with blocks on my phone in my calendar. You know where I'm going with this. But so if you don't know your profile, if you don't know what are your strengths or what are your weaknesses, you are fighting against yourself. And when I work with my clients, I actually have a test. You can go online, grab that test. It's $27. It coaches you through it. It's 5 minutes. It tells you all about your executive functioning and it coaches you at the end of it. But thank you, AI. What I used to do with clients for 2 hours, now it's like nicely packaged. But you can understand your strengths and weaknesses. So for example, you're going to laugh at this, and I'm using myself as an example and not clients because privacy. I cannot do spatial things. So my husband and my daughter are the ones that organize cupboards in the kitchen. But guess who runs the calendar in the family? I am. Because I can do that in my freaking sleep. I can organize a conference in my freaking sleep. My husband despises that stuff. But he's an engineer, but give him something to put together, and 5 minutes later it's together, and I'm still sitting there and wondering which piece goes, three-dimensionally where. So know your strengths, and while you're building the team, build the team in such a way that supports you. Very often when we hire people that we like, that are like us ourselves. You need to hire to your weaknesses, not to your strengths. You don't need a clone of yourself. You need someone who is going to support you And oh, by the way, call you on your shit as well, because it's important, right? For someone to say, hey, but at the same time, when you build a team, be aware and make it known who is good at what. Because if someone has a prioritization and you put them in charge of running a department, you're going to run into problems. At the same time, if Christy is an organizational master and wants everything to be by line, and you put her with Johnny, who is like me, where the pile to a pile on a pile, Christy is going to go nuts and thinks that Johnny is the biggest slob ever. So you have to know who is who and understand that very often they're not doing this to annoy you, but that's just how they operate, which is different how you operate. So again, we can spend hours talking about those strengths.
Yeah.
Some people have incredible metacognition and insight to themselves, and some people have zero, are oblivious. So all of that comes into that. I like to think about executive functioning as your operating system, your how do you run, all the software that runs your hardware of a day-to-day operation.
Yeah, it's so good. And some people think, I just need more motivation, or they think what they actually need is something else that's not intangible in there, but what they actually need is more structure, and they need a better calendar, and they need a better decision-making process, a better system for communication, a better way to keep the business from living in their head 20. A business should not depend on you waking up every day and remembering 75 different things. You need systems. And that's not because you're lazy. It's just because you're human. So let's talk about identity. You mentioned that identity plays a big role in consistency and leadership and client retention and business growth. So tell me about identity. What do you mean by that? And how does a coach's identity affect the way they price?
Fake it till you make it. Mm-hmm. I hate the saying fake it till you make it, because if you're faking, and yes, you can become that next adoration of yourself, the next step, the next level of your development. But if you pretend to be someone that you are not, you can only do it for so long till something comes up and your true nature comes up. Because I always think about it this way. We teach our children not to lie. Lying, not good. Very bad. Consequences for lying. But at the end of the day, if you lie, how many stories do you freaking have to hold in your memory to remember who do you told what and to keep it straight? People are not stupid. People do remember very often. And even in my networking, I'm blessed with very good memory, even with concussion. And sometimes something will happen. I will totally let it drop. Someone will give me a bullshit explanation. And someone a year later will mention something. And now I'm like, okay, if you lied about this, what else have you lied about? And where is your credibility? So I will use an example of very real life right now. We use AI. I use AI. I'm open about it. I use AI in my social media because, again, work smarter and harder. I'm not going to sit there for hours writing copy when I can have ChatGPT do it 500 faster than I am. But you know what's the difference is? We're having this conversation here. You can confirm this. I had no clue what topic we're going to be talking about. Zero questions, right? So I can sit down with you with no prep. I can stand up in a room and give a 10-15-minute presentation with no prep on every single thing that I post about, I talk about, and I coach. I'm not faking it. I have it. I'm just using systems and tools to present it much faster.
Yes.
Other than sitting there and tweaking a freaking video for 5 days, right? I have better things to do. Yeah, so it's the same with your identity. And believe me, if you don't believe in yourself and you go to a client, they can smell that a mile away. They may not be able to pinpoint what's not there, but your energy, your body language, your tone of voice, your everything is going to be off. They may not know why they're off, but it's like something is ringing and they cannot pinpoint it, but they will say no. So it's one of those things that it's important to remember to be yourself and not lose yourself in the business. I've worked with so many highly positioned business owners who totally forgot who the hell they were. One of the services I offer is transitioning people in the late 50s and early 60s, getting them ready for retirement when they want that. Yep. And so many of them wrapped up their identity just in their business that they want out, but they don't know who they are because they all business. And that's sad. That's it. If businesses, it's great that you are so involved, but on the other hand, if that's the only dimension of your life, and to your point of systems, are you a business owner or are you self-employed? The famous, well, there is the nice version and not so nice version. It's the cruise or the bus test. If you go for a cruise for 3 months, is your business still standing? Mm-hmm. If you get hit by the bus, is your business still standing? Can you remove yourself from the business and is it still running, or do you have to have your fingers in every single aspect of your business?
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to be able to adapt too, because the market changes, clients need change, technology changes, business models change, but also you change and your capacity changes and your values change and your leadership needs to evolve. So let's do a few rapid fire questions before we wrap up. Okay, these are just quick things that come first thing that comes to mind. Are you ready for this? All right. What is one belief about success that you wish more coaches would let go of?
It has to be a grind. It has to be painful. It has to be hard.
Okay. What is one boundary every coach should have?
There are clients that you will regret having. Not everyone is your client.
Right. What is one simple nervous system regulation practice that somebody can use before a sales call or a client call?
Try the vagal breathing, which is 4 to 8, or basically double your exhale to your inhale. And you can do it while you speak as well. You can do it, if you practice it outside of speaking, it's actually a public speaking trick, because the more words you say on one exhale, the more you're putting yourself in parasympathetic.
What is one sign a coach is undercharging for their value?
They are discounting themselves when client cannot afford it.
What's one thing that coaches should stop doing if they want to avoid burnout?
Try to be everything to everyone. You're not a freaking pizza. Not everyone is going to like you.
I love that one. You're not a pizza. What is one thing coaches should start doing if they want to build a more sustainable business?
Strategically, consequently, precise every day. You don't have to post 16 times a day. You have to post once a day or every 3 days, but be consistent in your action. You don't have to go and network with 1,000 people, but if you do 5-1, when you send 5 emails a day and meet one new person a day, you're going to get somewhere. Baby steps, not a huge action.
Good. And final one is, what is one question that every coach should ask themselves this week?
Why am I doing this?
All right. I love it. And Karolina, this has been such a valuable conversation. And I think the big takeaway for everyone listening to this is you don't have to build your business by burning yourself to the ground. You can grow with structure. You can grow with boundaries. You can grow with clarity. You can grow with better systems. You can grow while protecting your energy and your relationships and your health and your ability to actually enjoy the life that you are creating, because success is not just about making money. It's about becoming the kind of leader who can hold that success without losing themselves in the process. And Karolina, where can people go to connect with you, learn more about your work, and also find out, more about Help to Grow Institute?
Easiest, find me on Facebook, my Karolina LaBrecque. There's a przewłoka in between that, but don't worry about that. LinkedIn, the same thing. And I know that you'll be posting underneath the links anyway. So that's just, the easiest way is to just click on one of those. And my website, Help to Grow Institute. I'm also not a guru that has 5 layers of barriers. So shoot me a DM, shoot me an email. If you have any questions, I'm an open book.
Perfect. And everybody listening, make sure you connect with Dr. Karolina LaBrecque and check out her work. And as always, if you're a fitness coach or you're a trainer or you're a wellness professional and you want to grow your online business with more structure, better systems, and a clear path to consistent clients, make sure you stay connected with us at TNT Fit Pro Coaching. Thanks again for listening to the FitBiz Accelerator Podcast, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in to the FitBiz Accelerator. If you found value in today's episode, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a tip or strategy to grow your online fitness business. And if you're ready to fast track your success, don't forget to check out tntfitprocoaching.com. Until next time, stay consistent, stay focused, and keep crushing it.